Welcome in. You already know what time it is. Alex Kleininger in the building. Let's dive into the Nexus. Let's dive into the Nexus. Step into the zone. Carolina stories got a life of their home. From the pages to the labs, yeah, we break it all down. If you love those books, you're at the right sound. Let's dive into the Nexus. Yeah, the mic stay reckless. Hometown justice, legends in the message. Casey Yokin's on the trail, solving cases non-stop. Turn it up loud, yeah, the Nexus don't stop. We talk plot twists, characters, theories. Author Q&A, getting answers you've been hearing. Special guests slide through, pull up a seat. Chaotic conversations with the Carolina heat. From small town drama to the mysteries deep. Every chapter got secrets we're ready to keep. Laughs laid back with the energy wild. If you read Kleininger, you already family now. Let's dive into the Nexus, step into the zone. Carolina stories got a life of their own. From the pages to the labs, yeah, we break it all down. If you love those books, you're at the right sound. Let's dive into the Nexus, come and connect us. Alex Kleininger live, yeah, you rocking with the Nexus. Hit play, stay tuned. Every episode fresh. Welcome to the Carolina Nexus. Brought to you straight from Carolina soil. Press play and let's dive in.
Welcome to the Carolina Nexus, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's a very special episode. First, let me apologize for last night. I worked late. I was unable to go live. I apologize once more. Things happen. So tonight, I'm going to do something for you guys I don't hardly ever do, but I'm going to combine both nights in one. We're going to do a 2-hour episode tonight just to thanks you guys for tuning in. So we're going to do a live read and discussion about that first. Then we're going to jump into our character discussion. And if people are still sticking around, as promised on the Carolina Nexus Facebook page, I will do 2 extra chapters tonight. With that being said, let me jump right into my sponsors for the evening. First and foremost, you know we got Mr. Hashtag Truth, Scott Larson. Scott, I love you. I hope you feel better. I apologize for your show having to be canceled due to your injury. But you got to do what's best for you, mate. Everything happens for a reason. Ron Emerson and you're going to tear the house down on the episode when you reschedule in the future. I have no doubts about it. Second, all the sponsors in my intro video, I thank them for their sponsorship. I really do. A lot of things are changing here at the Carolina Nexus. We all came together because of the books you see around the screen here. But I also give back to the community. So every single person that comes in and asks to sponsor the show, there is no charge for sponsoring. I could do that. I could charge for sponsoring, but I don't. That's why you see all those people in my intro video getting their dues paid through me. I support small businesses. So if you want to advertise with the Carolina Nexus, hit me up, give me a logo, and I got you. With that being said, our newest sponsor who has yet to send me a logo for her team, Baby Babble Boutique. Babble Baby Boutique. It's one of those two. Madison Long. I love her to death. She's an amazing person. She won't steer you wrong. She started this boutique to help parents and grandparents find the perfect outfit for their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, whatever the case may be, nieces and nephews. Go see Madison at the boutique, and she will take care of you. She won't steer you wrong. I guarantee it. Now, yes, sir, Scott. It's all about the Nexus tonight. Again, I apologize that Hashtag Truth, our sister show, was canceled. But like I said, everything happens for a reason. Tonight just wasn't the night for you and Ron Emerson to tear up the mic. That'll happen the next time you guys reschedule. I have no doubts about it. Now, before I dive into the meat of this story, one more announcement. The Carolina Nexus Hometown Justice Hostile cover contest is still underway. I was supposed to have a decision from my judges for tonight's or for last night's episode. They still haven't got to me for tonight, so bear with me. I'll probably have them next week. With that being said, we're about to dive in to the Tygapagon. First, I want to give a shout out to my baby boy Tyson. I know he's watching with his mama at home. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you got your questions ready, and if you don't have questions ready, I hope You pay attention to the chapters and answer some questions. So without further ado, let's dive in. Last time we left off, the Tygapagon taming the tiger, we were in chapter 11. So we're going to kick off with chapter 11. I'm going to read chapter 12. In between, we're going to do a chapter discussion on chapter 11. Then we're going to jump into chapter 12, do a character discussion. Then we're going to talk about some characters from the Casey Elkins series, which is another series I work on. If you're new here, thanks for tuning in. If you're new here and you haven't already done so, go to the YouTube page. Like, share, subscribe. Watch all the old episodes to get caught up. There's plenty of them on there. Tyson uses them as sleeping formula because apparently my voice puts him to sleep when I'm reading. So when I'm not live to read to him and his mom is too busy to read to him, this is what she does. She turns on YouTube, turns me on, and lets me listen to him. And lets him listen to me. And he goes to sleep that way. That's how it works. All right, guys. So chapter 11. The evening shadows stretched across Usanagi's office as David delivered his report. Douglas sat in the Caesar position beside him, both students watching their master's reaction carefully. Kwando. Usanagi's hand froze on his silver comb. You're certain of this name? Yes, Sensei, David bowed slightly. The old fire station on Main Street. They call it Kwando's School of Martial Arts. Usanagi moved to the window, his reflection hard in the glass. Impossible. The Kwando clan was eliminated in 87. I made sure of it myself. Douglas and David exchanged glances. Sensei? Douglas ventured carefully. Usanagi's dog tags clinked as he turned. The Kwando clan was once the most respected family of martial artists in Okinawa. They taught a style that combined 9 animal forms. His lip curled in disgust. Weak. Passive. They believed in using an opponent's strength against them rather than crushing them outright. He paced, his pompadour catching the fading light. In my time in the corps, I was tasked with modernizing the martial arts in the region. The Kwando clan resisted. They had to be dealt with. But one survived, David said. Apparently, Usanagi's fist clenched, and now he dares teach the sheriff's son? He stopped facing his students. This changes everything. The ruler boy isn't just learning martial arts. He's learning techniques that directly oppose our style. What are your orders, Sensei? Douglas asked, then hesitated. There's something else. A student there. Tai. He moves like nothing I've seen before. When he interfered at school, he took down the 4 of us without breaking a sweat. Usanagi froze. His hand moved to touch the purple heart on his gi. Tai. The student's name is Tai? Yes, Sensei. Tyson. Usanagi whispered, almost to himself. It can't be. I defeated Hayachi Kwando. He had a wife, Lilac, and they had a son, Tyson. I'm guessing after I defeated Hayachi and Lilac, the grandfather must have taken the baby and fled Okinawa. His eyes hardened suddenly. This changes nothing. The Kwando clan died in Okinawa, and it will die here in Pokeful too. Douglas's eyes widened at the implication of Usanagi's words. Sensei, you mean Tai is the heir to the Kwando style, David finished, his usual cockiness replaced by genuine concern. No wonder he moved like that. Does this, Douglas chose his words carefully, change our approach, Sensei? Usanagi's reflection in the window showed a dangerous smile. It means we strike, not just at the student, but at the legacy. The Kwando name ends here, in this town. He turned to face his top students. And you two will help me finish what I started in Okinawa. David straightened, pride returning to his posture, but Douglas' expression remained troubled. He'd felt Tai's skill firsthand, experienced the efficiency of his movements. If that was just a fraction of the Kwando-style potential. Mist rose from the pond's surface as Alex, Ken, and Tai moved through their katas in perfect sync. The early evening air carried the scent of fresh-cut hay and distant wildflowers. Their weighted gis rustled softly with each deliberate movement. Back straight, Ken. Tai instructed. Power flows from the center. Easy for you to say, Ken grunted, his arms trembling. Your weighted pajamas probably don't weigh as much as a small car. Alex smiled without breaking form. You get used to it. That's what worries me, Ken muttered, but maintained the stance. A family of ducks glided across the pond, unbothered by the 3 students practicing nearby. The setting sun painted the water gold, their reflections rippling with each precise movement. This is dragon form, Tai demonstrated, his movements fluid yet powerful. Notice how, Alex! Amy's voice shattered the tranquility. Mom says dinner's ready! The boys froze mid-kata. Behind a nearby tree, Allison emerged, her cheeks peak at being discovered, watching their practice. And she says everyone better come eat before it gets cold, Amy continued at full volume. That means you too, Allison, and Ty, and Ken. I swear she's got better lungs than a drill sergeant, Ken winced, but he was grinning. Ty bowed to signal the end of practice. Never refuse a Ruler family dinner invitation. Mrs. Ruler's cooking is worth breaking training for. Come on, Alex gestured to them all, before Amy decides to announce dinner to the whole county. The warmth of the Ruler family kitchen enveloped them as soon as they entered. The aroma of pot roast and fresh biscuits filling the air. Sheriff Ruler and Eunice sat at the table with Amy bouncing impatiently in her seat. Finally, she exclaimed, I'm starving. Patience, sweetheart, Eunice smiled, gesturing for everyone to take their seats. Now let's join hands. As they formed their circle around the table, Eunice bowed her head. Dear Lord, we thank you for this meal and the hands that prepared it. We thank you for watching over our family and for blessing our Alex with such true friends. Thank you for bringing Ty and Ken and Allison into our lives and providing not just for our family but for our friends gathered here. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen, the group echoed, though Ken's voice carried a hint of surprise at being included in such a heartfelt prayer. Now, Eunice beamed, who wants the first biscuit? Claimed. The voice belonged to Marcus, who had managed to get into the house, somehow. His appearance was beaten and bloody, leaning against the kitchen door frame. Marcus, Amy cries, what happened to you? Amy, I'm fine. This is nothing compared to what my dad has done before. I came here to enjoy the peace you all offered me graciously. I'm no fighter, but those Boafang kids, they sure pack a punch, Marcus explains. Douglas did this? Alhan asks. Seems as if I need to have a word with their teacher. You mean their sensei? Dad, the Boafang students only speak the language of fists, Alex explains. Douglas will more than likely target weak kids trying to draw us out, Ty says calmly. We cannot strike with vengeance. We have to wait till they target us before we do anything. You boys can do nothing, but Sensei Kwando cannot tell me I can't do anything, Alhan says. What are you going to do, Dad? Alex asks. Sheriff, Mr. Ruler, sir, you can't go in there, Ken says. The Boafang instructors is something awful, according to the rumors around school. Daddy, will you be careful? Amy asks. I'm always careful, dear, and I'm just going to warn the... Alhan looks at Alex and smiles. Sensei that if his students continue to attack people in my town, I will shut him down. With that, Alhan grabs his hat from the coat rack, kisses Eunice on the cheek, and heads out the door. Eunice grabs the first aid kit and begins treating Marcus. The rest of you eat. Enjoy the meal, she instructs. As Alex leads Marcus into the next room, Alex looks at Ty, Ken, and Allison. He is my friend. They hurt him because of me, Alex says. And what exactly are you planning to do about it? Ty asks quietly. Storm Boafang, fight Douglas and the entire dojo? If I have to. Alex, Ken set down his fork. I may be new to this whole martial arts thing, but even I know that's not what Sensei Kwando's been teaching us. They're targeting my friends. Alex's voice rose slightly. First, Marcus. Who's next? You? Allison? And breaking Sensei's rules will fix that? Allison reached for his hand. You work too hard to earn your place at Kwando's. If you go after them for revenge, you'll lose everything you built. She's right, Ty nodded. Grandfather didn't teach us to fight. He taught us to protect. There's a difference. Alex looked at his untouched plate, then toward the room where Marcus was being treated. So we just wait? Let them hurt more people? No, said Ken. We train harder. We get stronger. When they come for us, because they will, we handle it the right way. The Kwando way, Ty added. Sheriff Ruler's cruiser pulled up to the Boafang dojo, the headlights cutting through the evening darkness. Deputy Steve Pruitt fidgeted in the passenger seat, his eyes wide as he took in the building's imposing facade. Sheriff, are you sure about this? Pruitt asked, adjusting his badge nervously. I mean, these martial arts masters, they can kill a man with one finger. I saw it in Enter the Dragon. Alhan stepped out of his cruiser, shaking his head. Steve, this isn't a movie. But Sheriff, what if he does that thing where he stands on one foot and makes that high-pitched sound? You know, Pruitt demonstrates a poor imitation of Bruce Lee's famous cry. Deputy, Alhan fixed him with a stern look. This man's students are assaulting kids in my town. Movie stunts or not, that stops tonight. As they approached the entrance, Pruitt whispered, "Just don't make him angry. I heard these guys can run up walls and stuff." Alhan sighed, pushing open the big dojo door. Sometimes having a deputy who'd seen too many kung fu movies wasn't exactly helpful. The dojo's fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows as Alhan and Pruitt entered. Usanagi stood in the center of the training floor, running his silver comb through his perfectly maintained pompadour. His dog tags clinked softly against his black gi. "Sheriff Ruler," Usanagi's voice carried the sharp edge of a drill instructor. "To what do I owe the pleasure?" "Sweet Christmas," Pruitt whispered. "He even looks like those guys from the movies." Alhan stepped forward, ignoring his deputy's comments. "Marcus Bagwell was attacked today by your students." "Ah," Usanagi smiled, tucking the comb away. "And you assume my involvement because they were wearing your uniforms, using your techniques?" "Were they?" Usanagi circled, his movements precise and measured. "And you're familiar with the martial arts techniques, Sheriff?" "I'm familiar with assault, Sensei Usanagi, and in my town that has consequences." "Your town?" Usanagi's eyes hardened. "I've trained half the youth in Pokeful, giving them discipline and purpose. What have you given them besides parking tickets and curfew warnings?" "Protections from bullies who think a black belt makes them above the law." Usanagi stopped circling. "Be careful, Sheriff. You're treading on ground you don't understand." "Sheriff?" Pruitt tugged at Alhan's sleeve. "Maybe we should—" "Last warning," Alhan cut him off, meeting Usanagi's gaze. "Control your students, or I'll shut this place down." "You could try." Usanagi's smile didn't reach his eyes. "But tell me, Sheriff, if you couldn't protect one boy from my students, how do you plan to protect an entire town?" Alhan's hand instinctively moved toward his gun. "Is that a threat?" "Merely an observation." Usanagi turned his back in a clear dismissal. "Give my regards to your son. I hear he's developing new interest lately. What my son is or isn't doing is none of your concern. If I remember correctly, you told him that he wasn't martial arts material," Alhan says sternly. "You tell your students that they will now be arrested for fighting outside the dojo or sanctioned tournaments." "Do small town sheriffs have the right to make up laws for arresting young adolescents?" Usanagi inquires. "When I took this badge, I made an oath, protecting the people of this town from gang assault by black belt wearing adolescents who think they're above the law." Alhan glares. "If your students continue attacking my citizens, I will bring the hammer down." Once back in the cruiser, Pruitt let out a long breath. "Sheriff, that was intense. Like Fist of Fury intense. Did you see how he just turned his back on you? Classic martial arts master move." "Steve," Alhan started the engine, "you need to watch fewer movies." "But Sheriff, he had the hair, the stance, even the mysterious threatening dialogue, just like—" "How about some real dinner instead of takeout at the station?" Alhan interrupted. "Eunice always makes enough to feed an army." Pruitt's eyes lit up. "Mrs. Roller's cooking? Really?" Then he hesitated. "But what about the paperwork for—" "It can wait until morning. Besides," Alhan smiled, "I think you need to see what real martial arts students look like. My son and his friends are training in the backyard." "Wait, Alex does martial arts?" Pruitt's jaw dropped. "Is that why you weren't intimidated by the pompadour of doom back there?" Alhan chuckled, turning the cruiser toward home. Some things were better shown than explained. The police cruiser arrived at the Ruler farm, pulling slowly into the parking spot beside Alhan's personal truck. When the two friends entered the house, they found Marcus heavily bandaged by Eunice, eating with Allison, Alex, Ty, and Ken. "I don't think you have to worry about the Boafang students, son," Alhan says, hanging his hat on the rack. "I told the sensei there that there would be zero tolerance for any fighting outside of the dojo walls or a sanctioned tournament." "Wait, there are actually tournaments like the All Valley?" Ken asked, practically spitting his drink out. "The All Valley is a fictional tournament, Ken, but yes, there are real tournaments. None around here locally, but grandfather has been working to get one started for Pokeful," Ty explains. "He has two in mind. The strongest under the heavens, which would take place in December, and the strongest under the stars, which would take place in May." "Why use those names specifically?" Eunice asks. "This is a festival. I'm sorry. There is a festival in Pokeful in May that coincides with the strongest under the stars, called the Star Festival. As for the December tournament, It was a tournament held back home in Okinawa. Everyone in my family has competed in it. Tai explains. We should all tell Sensei tomorrow about your father's warning to Boafang. Tai helps himself to another biscuit. He'll want to know about any official involvement. Especially with him trying to get those tournaments started, Ken added. Could change everything. You think they'll really happen? Marcus asks, wincing slightly as he reached for his glass. The strongest under the stars and heavens tournaments? Grandfather's been working hard to make them happen, Tai replied, but there's still a lot to arrange. Well, if they do happen, Alex said, determination in his voice, we'll be ready. After dinner, Eunice interjected firmly, no one leaves until they've had seconds. Deputy Pruitt beamed at this announcement, holding out his plate already. Yes, ma'am. All right, guys. So that was chapter 11. What questions you guys got? Amber says, while I was reading the first time you said Tyson the baby busted up laughing at you, and now every time you say Ty, he hollers back at you. That's amazing. I told you, Ty, I love you. Vinny says, yo, yo, yo. And then Amber says, in my opinion, Alex is growing a lot since chapter 1 where he immediately went off. This is true. This is a chapter discussion. Let's hear the questions from the people that were listening at home. Miss Baloo, welcome in, welcome in. I still didn't receive the TCW thing from you, so I couldn't bring it up on the show tonight. I do appreciate your support, and I will show it if you send it to me right now. Well, maybe you shouldn't have stayed out of the locker room and tuned in when I said I was going live. But you couldn't do that, could you? Amber says, question. So far in the story, Alex is shown to be kind of brash and hot-headed. So what caused him to react badly to the news of Douglas being beaten? Well, first off, Douglas wasn't the one that was beaten. It was Marcus. Second off, the moment was supposed to show that hanging out with Tai and hanging around Sensei Yoshimoto was growing on him. It's one of those moments where I showed the growth instead of telling people about the growth. This is a good one from Scott. Why do you feel the need to lean on martial arts more heavily than firearms in your storytelling? That's a good question, Scott. I lean more into the martial arts because I think guns are overdone in action movies. Every single action movie you see on the face of the planet has martial arts or it has firearms in it or bombs or big explosions. So the martial arts aspect to me is more enjoyable, more believable, especially on paper. Miss Blue, I got it already. Thank you. Getting ready to put it on the screen now. Jack Morgan, thank you for tuning in. I know I'm a little bit scruffy, but it's long story short, I've just been lazy about upkeep personal appearances. There we go. All right, guys. I just got this message from TCW, which is one of my many sponsors, a local independent wrestling show here in the Carolinas, hometown Shelby, heart of Flair country. I got this message, and I'm going to put it up on the screen now. Give me 1 second. While I'm doing this, you guys can be typing in your next question. So July 25th, you will see TCW presents No Excuses. Getting ready to bring the image up on the screen. Again, sorry, it was just sent to me and it's taking a minute to process it. Here we go. TCW No Excuses, July 25th, Shelby City Park. Tickets are available at topcw.com. They're available at the door. Ringside's 15, general admissions 10. You don't want to miss this one, ladies and gentlemen. Bell time 7 p.m. Go check out Top Championship Wrestling. Jack Morgan, my wife, wanted me to let you see this. But Amber, this is his response to you. See, she told me to put it on the screen. Scott says, Amber, get a room. We have proof twice, Scott. We have proof twice. That's sort of our inside joke that we tell each other. So, yeah. So, again, guys, check out TCW. Miss Baloo is a very close family friend. She's a second mother to me, and I support everything she does. I put her posters on here any chance I get. So don't hesitate to go check out her shows. I promise you won't be disappointed. While you're there, look up Dump Truck and ask for an autograph. Tell him that Alex at the Carolina Nexus sent you. He'll give you an autograph. If you see Brian Thrill while you're there, ask him what it's like to be the flower of the family. That sort of thing. I will say this, Jack Morgan. You said a correct statement that real men use their hands, not guns. Guns are always a last resort. And I believe in that too. No, tonight it was mainly technical difficulties. Amber says she's got another question about the chapter. The character of Steve Pruitt, does his real life personality match up with the personality of the character I wrote in the books? No. For those of you from the Pokeville, North Carolina area, you probably know the name Steve Pruitt. He was my dad's best friend. He was like an uncle to me. I loved him to death. When I asked his permission to put him in the books, he said, yes, but you got to do me one favor. I said, what is that? He said, you have to put me in the books as the person you see me as, not as the person that I am. He said, and also don't change my name. Don't be a pussy. So I didn't change his name, and I made him into the person that I saw him as myself. And the character will continue to be that way as a homage to him. And so Steve never really watched a whole bunch of TV, so I figured making him into the cool uncle that watched action movies with me in the books would be the perfect way to do that. If you knew Steve Pruitt, you knew he believed in two things: his dogs and drinking beer. And he didn't want me to showcase that on the page, so I didn't. That's how I framed him in this book. It's out of love and respect for the man and honoring his request to me for the character based on him. A lot of people have asked me, aren't you afraid he's upset you made him a cop because he hated cops? I'm not afraid. If he actually read the book when it was in editing, and he thought it was the funniest thing ever that I made him a cop. So I have no qualms with making him a cop. My dad was the first person to point out that if I saw Steve Pruitt as a cop, I saw cops in a weird light. I see cops in a weird light anyway, but Steve Pruitt was always like the superhero to me growing up. And I can't explain it any better than that. Scott asked, "Do you need complete silence when writing, or do you get ideas from the chaos around me in real life?" That depends on the day and the mood, good sir. Because some days you can tell exactly what's happening around me, what I'm watching, what music I got playing in the background, based on the tempo of the scene or how certain characters act in the scene. A good example of this are some of the Easter eggs I've hidden in the original series. That's Amber's favorite thing about reading the Hometown Justice series is picking out the Easter eggs. And I've got it to the point now when we drive through Pokeful to go visit any member of my family that lives up that way, she'll point out, well, this is where in your book, this is where so and so is supposed to be at. This is where so and so is supposed to be at. Is this really the building from Hometown Justice that you use for this part? And I have to answer all her questions 100 times. But a lot of times here recently with the baby, when I'm working on the books, I try not to do it around him, so because he does get fussy, and when he gets fussy, he gets loud, and that throws off my concentration. So I have been spending a lot of time writing away from the chaos, but I do still have music playing when I'm writing on it. Like any of my fight scenes, you can take a Hollywood Undead, an Eminem, Five Finger Death Punch, or Limp Biscuit, or Linkin Park song, and match it up to the beats of the song of the fight scenes. Yeah, rest in peace, Steve Pruitt. I miss him too. He was one of the few places in Pokeful I ever felt truly at home at. Um, One of the best advice givers I ever had too. That would answer my. He would give me advice, no judgment, no matter what I was asking him about. And yes, Amber, I enjoy when you do that. It doesn't bother me one bit. All right, guys, if there's no more questions about chapter 11, we're going to dive right into chapter 12. All hands on deck. Everybody ready to dive in? If you're new here, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell on YouTube so you'll get notifications of when I go live. And if you're a wrestling fan, you like independent pro wrestling, not the WWE, the AEW stuff. If you're a wrestling fan, go over to hashtag Truth on YouTube, follow the page, like and share it. Set the notification, the little bell, so you can get the notifications when he goes live. That is my sister show. My executive producer, Scott Larson, is the host, and occasionally I will be on there co-hosting. If Scott's health keeps him from doing the show for any reason, and I don't have a show planned that night or have to work, I will be heading up the show so he could keep things rolling. So that is the only other announcement I have between chapters. We're going to dive right into this. All right, Amber, I'm not going to dive in just yet. Vinny's asking if Mark is in any of my books, and if you don't know who he's talking about Mark Deadman. He hasn't made his appearance yet, but he's coming. I just don't know what book he's going to be in. Amber, that question, I'm not bringing it on the screen. That happens in the next chapter, homie. So you can ask it again, or you can leave it there and I'll answer it later. Jumping right into chapter 12. If you're ready, let's dive in. The morning crowd parted like water as Alex, Ken, and Marcus walked through Pokeful Middle School's main entrance. Word of Marcus's beating had spread fast, and the sight of his bruised face alongside Alex's ruler sent whispers racing through the hallways. Let me stop right there. I took a lot of creative liberties with this story. Pokeful only had a high school. And at one point in time, it went from elementary school to high school. Then they changed it up, and that's when Burns High School was built. Piedmont High School was there. I didn't want to go through explaining all that in the story, so I made Pokeville Middle School and Pokeville High School. It's just easier that way. Um, if you guys are confused by it, you can private message me and I'll explain it. Or when we're doing character discussions about these characters, I can discuss it then. Moving on. Where did it go? Hang on. So, back to chapter 12. The morning crowd parted like water as Alex, Ken, and Marcus walked through Pokeville Middle School's main entrance. Word of Marcus's beating had spread fast, and the sight of his bruised faces alongside Alex's ruler sent whispers racing through the hallway. Is it just me, Ken muttered, or is everyone staring? Not everyone. Ty's voice came from behind them. He fell into step with the group, his red tank top standing out among the crowd. Just the ones who saw what happened to Marcus, and the ones who heard about your father's visit to Boafang. Alex caught sight of Eric and Daniel at their lockers. The two Boafang students quickly looked away, their usual swagger notably absent. Looks like your dad's warning had some effect, Marcus observed, touching his split lip gingerly. Maybe, Alex replied, but his eyes were fixed on Douglas's empty locker. But I somehow don't think Douglas got the message. Dr. Colette Devaney, the principal of Pokeville Middle School, was a very petite woman with a fierce energy about herself. Her voice alone could calm even the angriest of parents down without even trying. It was no surprise to the students when the intercom broke the uneasy silence in the hallways to make an announcement. Students, faculty, and staff, please report to the inner auditorium for a school-wide meeting, Dr. Devaney's voice announced. The auditorium buzzed with whispered conversations as students filed in. Alex, Ken, Ty, and Marcus found seats near the middle, while Eric and Daniel huddled near the back, conspicuously absent their usual white geese. Dr. Devaney took to the stage, her small frame commanding immediate attention. Despite her size, her presence filled the room as she approached the microphone. Recent events have forced us to address an ongoing issue, she began, her voice carrying that unique blend of authority and concern. The wearing of martial arts uniforms to school has created an atmosphere of intimidation and division among our student body. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Alex caught Daniel and Eric exchanging nervous glances. Effective immediately, martial arts gis are no longer permitted on school grounds. This includes before and after school activities. Her eye swept the room. We are an educational institution, not a dojo. Any student violating this policy will face immediate suspension. Ken leaned over to whisper to Alex. Guess Douglas won't be doing his warrior strut down the hallways anymore. That's assuming he shows up at all, Ty muttered back. Furthermore, Dr. Devaney continued, any physical altercations, regardless of martial arts training, will result in immediate expulsion and criminal charges. Sheriff Ruler has made it clear that the law applies equally to everyone, black belt or not. As the assembly dispersed, Alex noticed something interesting. Without their white gis, Eric and Daniel looked smaller somehow, less intimidating, just regular kids trying to slip unnoticed through the crowd. The bell after fourth period rang, sending students pouring into the hallways. As Alex gathered his books, a sophomore girl he barely knew approached him. Hey, tell your dad thanks, she smiled. Those Boafang guys used to corner my little brother for his lunch money. Before Alex could respond, another student walked by, muttering just loud enough to be heard. Must be nice having Daddy change school rules just to protect you. Don't listen to them, Ty said as he joined the group. They don't understand what's really happening. Yeah, Ken added, adjusting his backpack. Half of them are just mad they can't wear their karate pajamas anymore. A few more students passed by, some offering grateful nods, others shooting suspicious glances. Marcus watched them go, his bruises still vivid against his pale skin. It's weird, he said quietly. Yesterday I was invisible. Now everyone's using me as either proof your dad did the right thing or proof he's playing favorites. Welcome to life with the rulers, Alex sighed, where everything's political, even trying to stop bullies. Speaking of politics, Ty nodded toward the end of the hall where David Brown stood watching them, his usual white gi replaced with regular clothes. His expression made it clear this wasn't over. Seeing Alex looking at him, David silently drags his thumb across his throat. Alex winks and gives him a thumbs up. What was that about? Marcus asked. You know, he is one of the three that jumped me, right? Nothing. He threatened me, and I basically asked him not to threaten me with a good time, Alex replies. You have nothing to worry about, Marky Poo. Marcus winces. Really? That's the nickname I get? He chuckles. Could be worse. Could be Kanado, Ken says, approaching from behind them. Or Taichi. Who calls the two of you that? Marcus asks. The same person who calls you Marky Poo, Tai sighs before Marcus, Ken, and he all say Amy together. At least you guys get nicknames based on your names. I get Bubby, Alex points out. The evening sun cast long shadows through the dojo windows as Alex, Ken, and Tai knelt before Sensei Kwando. Their weighted gis felt especially heavy after a grueling training session. Today, Sensei began, stroking his chin thoughtfully, we discussed something few students are ready to learn. Something that has not been taught in our style since Okinawa. The three of you possess something rare, Sensei continued, a connection, a harmony that may allow you to tap into Rai. Rai? Ken asked, for once without a joke ready. Rai is a kinetic energy that flows through all living beings on this planet, Sensei explained, his voice taking a reverent tone. Every person, every animal, every plant produces this energy, but very few can learn to harness it, to control it, to master it. Like in Dragon Buster X, Ken couldn't help himself. Sensei's eyes twinkled. Those stories come from somewhere, Ken-san. The 9 animal forms of Kwando were developed to help channel different aspects of Rai. Some students might unlock one form in their lifetime. But you three, he smiled, you three might be the first to unlock multiple forms. Alex felt his weighted gi suddenly seem lighter, as if the Rai Sensei spoke of was already responding. Beside him, Tai sat straighter while Ken looked completely serious for perhaps the first time since joining the dojo. The path will not be easy, Sensei warned. Controlling Rai requires perfect harmony between mind, body, and spirit. But if you succeed, he let the words hang in the air. How will we know? Alex asked. When we're ready. The animals will choose you, Sensei replied cryptically. Now back to basics. Show me proper sweeping technique. As they grabbed their brooms, Alex caught Tai and Ken's eyes. Something had changed tonight, not just in their training, but in their understanding of what they might become. As Alex and Ken began their sweeping, Tai approached his grandfather. Sensei, may I speak with you privately? Sensei nodded, leading Tai to his office. The small room was filled with ancient scrolls and the faint scent of incense. What troubles you, grandson? It's about Alex, Tai said carefully. I believe he should be trained in the tiger style. Sensei's eyebrows raised slightly. The tiger? Why? I've watched him. Even with weighted clothing, he moves with natural speed. And there's a cunning to him, the way he thinks through problems, the way he faces challenges, like a tiger stalking its prey. Interesting observation, Sensei smiled. You see much, Tai-san. Tai shifted uncomfortably before adding, Has Sheriff Ruler spoken with you? Ah. Sensei's expression grew serious. About the Boafang situation. Yes, things at school are becoming complicated. Life is always complicated, grandson. That's why we train not just the body, but the mind and spirit. He paused. But yes, Alhan Ruler and I have spoken. He is a wise man, much like his son. Then you'll help if, when the time comes, Sensei interrupted gently, we will do what is necessary. For now, focus on training. And Tai? His eyes twinkled. Good choice with the tiger style. All right, guys. Chapter 12 is in the past. Questions, comments, concerns. This is one of the most emotional chapters and also one of the funniest, in my opinion, in this book alone. It does get more serious and darker as the plot progresses. I will give you guys that much. Some of the final scenes of this book are not for the faint of heart. But I'm going to go ahead and answer Amber's question she sent for Chapter 11 that's actually for Chapter 12. She asked, why did Dr. Davini single Alex out like that at an assembly? That will make Alex the number one target for bullies. Well, first, as I was writing this scene, I felt that it had to be done because it's done in every single story that has a similar plot line. I mean, take Cobra Kai, for instance. In season 1, when Hawk is being bullied because of his lip, and they're calling him Lip and stuff like that, his mother calls the school, complains, the school holds an assembly, and they mention someone has a facial deformity in our school, and he went to his mother crying that he's being bullied, and his mother called the school and was so concerned. This sort of same situation here, only instead of going to the school by Alex being bullied, Sheriff Ruler was just doing his job and implementing a new policy about the martial arts stuff. With that being said, it also is a great character moment for building the future. It shows that Alex is able to adapt and respond to these things without showing the brashness and the hot-headedness that he had prior to training. Oh. You originally asked it while it was still talking about chapter 11, dear. All right, guys. Any more questions about chapter 12? Any of the characters in chapter 12? And for those of you that went to Burns, you may recognize the name Dr. Devaney. She was the principal of my elementary school, but at one point in time, she was the principal of Burns High School. So I made her the principal of Pokeville High School, or Pokeville Middle School. Amber wants to know, what are the 9 animal spirits or 9 animal paths forms Sensei Kwando spoke of? Okay, so this is going to get into lore territory that this podcast was originally designed for. The martial arts style is called Jang Kwang Do, which is a completely made up style. I use Seventh Sanctum to help me name it. Jang Kwang Do is fundamentally Miyagi-Do karate. But I branched it out and added the 9 animal spirits and the 9 animal paths. Those are simple. I'm going to give you the one that doesn't originate from anywhere. That's the spider style. The spider style is a unique style created customly for this universe, and I will be branching out, adding more layers to it as is needed. It has not yet been introduced to the chronological timeline of the story, but if you read Hometown Justice, Homecoming, that's where the spider style is first introduced. The tiger style and the dragon style were created just for this universe. The other styles, I got the inspiration from another piece of nerd culture. And it was Caitlin's idea. I took the animals from the Ninjetti season of Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers season 3, and used those animals as the basis for the other paths. The crane, the wolf, the ape, the frog, the bear, and the falcon are the 6 original styles from Power Rangers that I took and made it and adapted it to the Jang Kwang Do style. Those are of all 9 of the forms. You got the 6 from Power Rangers, the tiger, the dragon, and the spider. And eventually you will see all of them in play. As a matter of fact, there's a character introduced in Hometown Justice Rebellion. Her name is Jeet Kundu. She's Ty's cousin. She is introduced in the sequel to this book that we're reading now. The sequel is called Taigapagon Taming the Dragon. She is introduced there, and she is the first member of the family to master all 9 styles. She doesn't master it when she hasn't mastered them all 9 when she first appears. She's slowly learning them. But in Hometown Justice Rebellion, it stated she's the master of all 9 styles. Oh. Sorry about the loud noise. I had to make some room on my desk here. Last question about this chapter. Where did Amy come up with the nicknames for Alex and his group of friends? That's funny. The nicknames that Amy picked out were all a product of my imagination because Amy is based on my little sister Brenda Cloninger. For those of you that know, you know. She always had nicknames for somebody. Um, I was always Bubba or Bubby. Vinny was always Vinny Vici. Um, so she had nicknames. As she grew older, her nicknames got weird. But Amy is still 5 in this chapter, so she has the authority of a 5-year-old. Her nicknames are creative in a sense. She calls Alex Bubby. She calls Tai Chi because originally Ty's name was supposed to be Tai Chi. Because I got the name Tai from Digimon, and the main character there's name is Tai Chi. That's where that nickname came from. Kinnado, however you want to say it. It's spelled Kinnado. It's pronounced Kinnado. Don't really matter how you pronounce it. It doesn't show up anymore after this. But she got that because 5-year-old mine was trying to make up nicknames, and she would combine Ken with Tornado. Marky Poo is self-explanatory. It's just a cutesy nickname she gives Marcus, and that's sort of supposed to set the tone for Marcus's first appearance in Hometown Justice Homecoming. He has a slight crush on her. She's 4 years younger than him, so it makes sense. And this is why it made sense to plant that seed because she's 5 and she's giving him a nickname that you would give somebody that you're in a relationship with. Marky Poo. And then, of course, Bubby came from my sister calling me Bubby when she wanted something from me. Any more questions about chapter 11 or 12? I'll answer them both right here, right now. If you didn't catch it on the Dump Truck and Jesse show, I did announce that Dump Truck is being put into the next Hometown Justice book, which will be Hometown Justice Redemption. Um, I've got him added to the story. I just don't have him doing a whole lot yet. He's just been introduced. I'm sure you guys are going to love it like you love the Big Country plug. So yeah. Amber says Ty is cooing at me every time I say his name. That's pretty sweet. All right, guys. If there are no more questions about this, about the the stories we read tonight, I'm going to go ahead and set up for character discussion. Give me one moment. I'll be back. Sorry about the wait, guys. I had to do some adjusting for the next part of the show where we're going to be discussing two characters from the Casey Elkins series because that's where we've been focusing our character discussions on. I have a special guest with me tonight, ladies and gentlemen. She is supposed to be the co-host of my show, but work schedule conflicts don't always tend to work out that way. But I don't fault her for that. She still gets credit in the credits, so we're going to go with this. She's coming online. We're going to talk about the character based on her, Caitlin Vierlo.
What's
Welcome
up?
to the show, Kit Kat.
Nothing much.
We're going to discuss Caitlin Vierlo and have the people ask questions about Caitlin and where she came from. But since Caitlin is based off of you, and that's
Hmm.
where the name came from, figured you might want to come on here and discuss some differences between you and Caitlin. Obviously,
Sure.
you're not a vampire. You don't drink blood, but we can do other differences.
Yeah.
Amber says, "Hey, Kate."
What's up?
All right, Caitlin. So Caitlin Vierlo, she is the titular Daywalker in the Casey Elkins the Daywalker series, book, not series. As you were reading, because you're one of the few people that's actually read the book. As you were reading, what were some of your favorite scenes with Caitlin Vierlo?
The ending.
The ending. That's always a good one. And eventually, the live reads of Carolina Nexus. We'll get to that point in the series, because once I get to the point where I'm reading Hometown Justice and Casey Elkins, I'll alternate
Hmm.
between the two going forward as far as chronological, because For those of you that don't know, chronologically, Hometown Justice Hostile happens at the same time Casey Elkins' The Idol is happening.
Yeah.
So there's that. Um, so Caitlin, what is some of the differences that you noticed between you and Caitlin Vierlo?
She can adapt a lot faster, especially like learning the Lycan language.
Yes, and that was done by design. I liked that little tidbit of information. Uh, One of her abilities as a maestro slash daywalker is to adapt and be able to learn stuff. So what would take you and me 15 to 20 years to master and learn, she can do in seconds.
Yeah.
Don't you wish you could do that?
Yeah, I mean, I've learned to adapt over the years with like schoolwork, but like her adaptability with languages, I'm just like, I can't do that. I wished.
So this question comes in from Amber. She usually asks who people are based on, but no need to this time. So Kate, how do you feel about having a character based on you that is so powerful?
Kind of refreshing that I got hold up to that kind of point. The one thing that I've always noticed that you've always said that my attitude comes from my aunt. Now here's the question: where does she get her attitude from? Because they're probably two different sources.
She gets her attitude from our aunt and from our mama.
Mm.
Just to throw that out there. If
I
you
meant
know,
the,
you know.
I meant the character.
Oh, Caitlin. Where
Yeah.
does Caitlin get her attitude from?
Yeah, because
Well, not much is known about Caitlin's family. That's going to come into play in a future novel. I will give more details about her family and how she came to be the Daywalker.
yeah.
But if I had to pinpoint, Vinny says he knows.
Where did you say that?
um,
I don't see that. Oh,
but if I had to say where Caitlin's attitude came from, it's probably from. Let me look at my notes on Caitlin. Hold on.
damn.
You gotta understand for the last 3 books I've been writing the prequel to Hometown Justice because people want me to read the books in order. So Caitlin's attitude comes from her from a combination of her mother and from both of her aunts.
Okay.
Listen, Amber, if I don't talk a little bit of trash about my sister, she's gonna think I'm mad at her. And besides, I'm talking about Caitlin and my sister, so it's not really talking trash. My sister will look you dead in the eyes, and proudly say Caitlin is her twin.
Mini.
Her mini, yes.
Correction there.
Carbon copy. A carbon copy.
Okay, so another difference that I've noticed is that you've made her a college student.
Right, because my plans for you. Hang on, I got to show you this before I answer the question. Vinny says he can see it. I guess he's talking about you being BJ's mini. But my plans were you were going to go to college and fulfill your 4-year-old dreams of owning your own bakery.
Mhm.
And that's not to say you're not going to do that. You may still surprise me and do it. But Caitlin, when she got turned, was a college student. She went to Limestone College, which, for those of you that don't know, was an old college in Gaffney that has now shut down.
That they filmed a movie yet.
Right. They filmed quite a few movies there. Amber
they
said
just
this is true.
recently
I've heard her
done
say
them.
it before.
They just recently filmed scenes there.
Yeah. Vinny said yes. He's talking about you being BJ's mini. Vinny, are you seeing like a carbon copy of BJ, or are you seeing BJ's attitude in a different body? That's the real question. And Amber says, fingers crossed, Kate. You still do it. Kate, I believe in you.
I actually have a few ideas of what I want to do when I grow up. And they've probably changed over the years. So if I still decided to go to college.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Do tell.
No, we're not getting to that right now. We're talking about Caitlin Vera.
Why are we talking about Caitlin Vera? I told you. I told you. Look at that answer right there.
Damn.
He says attitude in a different body. And nobody knows better than me but Vinny and Joey. They can give you more information about BJ when she was your age.
Well, the Viper can shut up.
Ooh. Yeah. See. She just called you out, bro.
Any more questions?
Yeah. Hold on. I got a few, and I know Amber's got like 10 for you.
No, not 10. I have a question about her that only the writer can answer.
Okay.
Where did the inspo come from?
The Inspire?
Yeah.
Inspiration?
Yeah, the inspo.
So, as a general horror movie fan myself, I've
Mm-hmm.
seen a lot of different vampire movies. And I got the inspiration for her to be the Daywalker from Marvel's Blade.
Mm-hmm.
But to avoid copyrights, I changed her abilities different from Blade's. Blade could not learn languages like she can.
Yeah.
Blade did not control mystical energies like she can. Um, and there's more abilities that I haven't went over that Caitlin has yet to show on page. One of her lesser known abilities is her strength. She's
Mm-hmm.
not just spiritually strong with the Rye energy; she's strong physically. I believe in one of the scenes I've written for an upcoming Casey Elkins book, she lifts a small 4-door Honda over her head like you would lift a laundry basket over your head.
Isn't one of her abilities to absorb sunlight?
Yes, that's how she goes without feeding. And she's also discovering a way to turn her ability into something she can inject into other vampires in the lore or in the world to prevent them from having the need to feed on blood. But if they don't want to do that, they can also become sort of like the Twilight vampires and be vegan and feed off animals.
Or another way. I have another way that it could possibly help.
What's that? Go ahead and give me your answer.
Huh?
What's your way? I want to hear that. Hear what idea you got there.
This one anime I used to watch, it's called Vampire Nights. The way vampires did not feed on humans is they had a little blood tablet. It's artificial blood. And they put it in water and it looks exactly like blood, but not.
Okay. So Amber, before we dive into your question, I'm gonna ask you a question. You can answer in the comments. You want to know what's special about her status as a Daywalker / Maestro? Which one do you want to know about first, the Daywalker or the Maestro? Because that's two completely different titles and entities within the universe, and I want to discuss both of them. But you got to ask, which order you want them in.
Ooh, that looks like a fun question.
It is a fun question. It can be a fun question.
I've read half of the. I remember reading half about the Maestro position.
You just want to know more about it.
Yeah. I can answer like half of that question.
Okay. Well, when the time comes, I'll let you answer what you know about it.
Okay.
Just gonna see what Amber has to say, which one she wants to hear about first. If she's even paying attention to it and responds. Go in ABC order. Just tell me both. She wants to know about the Daywalker. So,
Okay.
As a daywalker, Caitlyn has a slew of abilities that not your average run-of-the-mill vampire has.
Like
She
I
can
said,
go out in sunlight.
yeah, the absorb sunlight and help.
She absorbs the sunlight and uses it to feed instead of feeding on humans. She has adaptability and she can learn new languages in seconds. What would take a normal person 15 to 20 years to master, Caitlyn can learn it in seconds. Um, she has increased physical strength, increased spiritual strength, increased stamina.
Mm-hmm.
She is the only vampire that has two forms when they transform. She can become a bat, or she could become a vampire overlord, sort of like you do in Skyrim, but not as creepy. Her vampire overlord form has not been explored yet, and it will be explored in the upcoming novel that focuses on Caitlyn's backstory. Um, and then she also has the ability to heal minor injuries because she
Hopefully,
uses the sun's.
hopefully she gets to improve that ability from
What was
minor.
that?
Hopefully, she gets to improve on that. Like make it.
Right.
It's not
But
just minor.
using her ability to absorb sunlight, she can convert that into healing energy. It's not necessarily blessed healing energy. So if, and for context, if she's trying to heal a priest, it won't work because her energy isn't blessed. She's also uniquely, to Caitlin Virlo's character, she is uniquely able to control three types of rye: spiritual or vampiric rye,
Mm-hmm.
mortal rye, and then a combination of the two.
Oh, let's say 3.
Yes, I did compare her ability to the vampire lord, Lord Harkin from Skyrim. But it's not creepy. Now, Caitlin, for the Maestro,
Mm-hmm.
tell Amber what you remember about the Maestro.
Okay, so the Maestros are basically the vampires that control those in her special domain. So, like, Caitlyn is the one for the Carolinas. She has the ability to control the vampires and tell them what to do and follow her rules under her, while
That
also
is correct.
upholding the vampire traditions.
That is correct. She is also one of the things that go along with being a maestro is she makes the life or death decisions
Mm-hmm.
for new vampires.
Like
If
like the Lycans do.
right,
Their kind.
she makes the decisions. If a vampire breaks her laws, she decides whether they go to purgatory or get transferred to another region, whatever she feels fit for the punishment. Um, Another one of her duties is now, since she took the office of maestro, is to work hand in hand with RIPD, which is Casey's agency, to create better laws to protect all the preternatural creatures in the Carolinas and the rest of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Along with the title of maestro, she gets an increased amount of rye, and she's allowed to have a human thrall, a lichen thrall, and a vampire thrall. But Caitlin doesn't want either of those.
Mm-mm. Didn't someone want to be her thrall though?
Yes, and she made them a deal. She cured the grandmother's cancer, and the girl became her willing human thrall, and therefore, being a human thrall, a willing human thrall means Caitlin does not mind control her.
Mm.
That's a good question, Amber. Caitlin, do you think Virlo will ever get to interact with the hometown justice crew?
Yes. I've been telling the writer that he needs to do a book with her in it before the final crash down.
So, as I explained to Caitlin during one of our conversations about this, after I get Hometown Justice's second trilogy finished, so after the release of Hometown Justice Alliance, I will be releasing the very first full crossover of the Carolina Nexus, and that's what it's going to be entitled, the Carolina Nexus. It'll take place after Hometown Justice Alliance and after Casey Elkins' The Kitsune, which is the fourth book that I'm currently writing now.
Again, he should have Caitlyn meet those 3 because, like Caitlyn, like me, she is very unused to working with others. The only reason why she did it with Casey and them was because Dylan trusted them, and she trusted Dylan.
And for those of you that don't know, Dylan is a character we're going to discuss after we discuss Caitlin Virlo. So if you have questions about Dylan Lennings, the Were Swine, bring them. I'll answer them. But we'll do that after we finish talking about Caitlin Virlo.
I want to see if Amber agrees with me. You should add her into a book before the Carolina Nexus.
Who?
Caitlin, to the hometown.
It would not make sense to bring a vampire to hometown justice. Not yet.
Technically, if I'm listening to how you described her mixed position, she's supposed to look after both South Carolina and North Carolina, and where is Pokeful at?
That is true, but I have not introduced vampires to hometown justice, so they would not be in Pokeful. However, I did tell you that there will be a book set after the Carolina Nexus crossover event where Caitlin and Casey have to go on a road trip together to handle vampire business in the Carolinas. So think Sam and Dean Winchester, only it's a human that controls Rye and a vampire maestro. And Miss Ballou will love that book because it's going to have Casey in it, not the rest of the team. And Casey's her favorite character in this series.
My favorite character is me, so.
Well, before you were introduced, your favorite character was Casey.
Yeah, but I'm more of a fan of me because I want to see how her attitude progresses, to see if it matches mine.
Amber says she'd be interested in how I would write what she's talking about in order for it to make sense. That's my problem. I could not make it make sense because vampires haven't technically been introduced. With the second trilogy of Hometown Justice, I'm currently introducing lichens through a drug that the big bad in the second Hometown Justice trilogy is introducing. It was introduced minorly in the first one, but it's becoming a major threat in the second one.
Can't you kind of do it like Supernatural? How they introduced vampires?
I could, but I don't want to be ripping it off too much. Theoretically, Casey is a spiritual ripoff of Supernatural. That's where I got the whole idea for there to be a team. And then Casey herself is based off of Anita Blake Vampire Hunter.
I thought she was kind of based off of Yu Yu Hakusho.
That's where some of the techniques were based off of. See, Casey hasn't encountered ghosts or spirits yet.
Okay, one of my other questions was, in Hometown Justice, you mentioned the animal parts of Rye.
Right.
Would Caitlin ever learn one of them to enhance more of her human Rye?
That's a good question, and I think I can make that make sense. I did introduce the character of Jeet Kundu, which is Ty's cousin. I've already mentioned her once.
Mm-hmm.
And if Caitlin meets Jeet, I think Jeet would be interested in training her.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to remember Jeet. I think Jeet and Caitlin would butt heads somewhat seriously because Jeet is essentially Genkai from Yu Yu Hakusho.
Uh-huh.
And Caitlin is a combination of you and my sister. So, which is a deadly combination.
But technically, if you're looking at it from my perspective, if it's a sensei willing to train me, I would not fight as much as Brenda Jane would.
Possibly not, but I can hear the complaints when she tells you, mop the floor. Why I gotta mop the floor? What's that got to do with punching people?
No. I've watched Cobra Kai too much to understand that there's a method to the madness.
Yeah, madness to the method.
Yep.
Like I said, I think the type of training Jeet would give Caitlin will be experienced in the next Tagapagon book. Mm-hmm. And I would like to see how you think Caitlin would react to that.
Okay. another question to go off of that one. Which one would you think she would be most suited for? Which animal?
Don't want to make you mad when I say this, but it's not the crane.
I'm asking your public opinion.
Yeah, I know. My public opinion, though, I think Caitlin would be more suited for the bear.
The bear.
Because the bear is about pure strength, but controlling the pure strength.
Isn't that the same?
Amber has a question. What would you say?
I was like, isn't that the same as the ape?
No. The ape is about remaining gentle and controlling the gentleness. Amber says, this question hasn't been brought up or answered yet, so I'll ask it. Does Caitlin fear the looming threat of Azrael? Ooh, yes. That is a good question.
Yes.
She does?
Yes.
Okay. There you have it from the person that inspired the character. Caitlin Virlo fears Azrael.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, it's a demon that when you introduced the first maestro before Caitlin of the Carolinas, he was trying to unleash it. And that whole energy that could be felt was more powerful than most of the 13 Fang, which is the most powerful vampires in the series.
And spoiler alert, they make a return in the Kitsune.
So I'm just saying, based off of the power that you're describing of Azrael and Caitlin being very psychic to that.
I didn't expect it either, Amber. It shocked me. She's actually given logistical reasons for Caitlin to be scared. And that shows my daughter has matured, y'all.
Well,
I might actually shed a tear.
Technically, if you look at it, though, all protagonists in different shows will show fear at a more stronger opponent. But that fear also helps them grow stronger.
Exactly. Amber says that was a good answer, Kate.
Thank you. I know.
So here's my question for you.
Yep.
As someone who inspired this character, if you could take her out of the Casey Elkins, the Carolina Nexus, and put her in any book series that you've read in the past, which book series would you put her into?
That's a hard one because there's so many movies and series that I've watched.
I didn't say movies and series. I said book series that you've read.
Same difference.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is, because all movies are based off of books.
Not all of them.
But I think I would probably go with either The Hunger Games or, I would say Twilight, but it wouldn't make sense.
I could see it now. Edward telling Bella, say it, Bella. And she goes, you're a daywalker. And then Caitlin pops up out of nowhere and says, no, bitch, I don't sparkle.
No, because the reason I say that is because the Cullens, they are very perspective, and if Caitlin looks out of the ordinary, which she really don't, but if she acts differently, they're going to be like, what's wrong with her? I mean, she don't have to feed, but if there's no sunlight for her to access at that time, what is she going to do? She would need to find another substance.
Right.
Because where the Twilight series would take place is in a rainy town called Forks. There's hardly any sunlight. So you would have to think about that, and I want to see what would happen if you take away her main way of substance and see how she grows from that.
That's a good point. A very good point.
But
all right, Kate.
No.
Let me see here. I may have one or two more questions for you.
Okay. Oh, wow. The snake actually shut up for once.
think he's driving. I don't know. So my next question to you: if I hadn't made you a vampire, what would you had rather me made you? A lichen, a demon, or something else entirely?
Mm, something else entirely. Probably, probably something you haven't heard of, but I know Amber probably has, because we tried to watch the series once. I'm gonna see if Amber remembers. Amber, do you remember Legacies? See if she answers.
I think she's dealing with your siblings,
Bruh.
Paisley and Riley, not Tyson. He's actually paying attention to us.
How do you know?
Camera. She said, or a human like my character. Amber, you were asked a question.
Yeah. Do you remember the show Legacies?
While Amber answers that question, Mr. Louie, if you are still watching, sir, this is my oldest daughter, Caitlin, 19 years old, and this is her first year completed out of high school. So she's based. The main character, one of the main characters in book 2 of my Casey Elkin series, is based off of her.
Okay, Amber answered. So, this character that I'm thinking of, she was the main character of Legacies, but she was not just one species. She was
What, she
called
was
the
a chimera?
no, she was called the Tribrid. She was a witch, vampire, and wolf.
Okay, so that would be, in my opinion, because I've never watched Legacies,
Yeah.
but doing something like that would be too close to stealing more from Laurel K. Hamilton and the Anita Blake vampire series. They introduced a creature called the Triumvirate,
Mhm.
which was a mortal, a lichen, and a vampire.
Mhm.
And initially, it was a spell, but then one of the main characters became the Triumvirate in person, and that was just weird.
Well, the way Hope got it was that she was born with it, but the only way she became the full Tribrid was if she activated her wolf curse and she died to become her vampire. She only had her witch side, really.
Ah, okay.
Yep. And the only way to activate her wolf curse was that she would have to kill someone for the first time. Yes, Amber, I'm talking about Hope.
You hit that nail on the head, Amber. I was lost.
You would have to watch the originals and then Legacies to understand that kind of context. Yes and no. There was another character I liked after I watched the entire series that I think would make good inspiration for Paisley.
So, Caitlin, I'm out of questions for you. I think Amber's out of questions for you.
Shocker.
I've only got 2 viewers. Do you want to stick around for the Dylan Lennings conversation, or
I'll
you gonna call
stick.
it a night? All right, Amber, she's sticking around for the Dylan Lennings conversation. So we're going to talk about Dylan Lennings and
Oh,
discuss
there's mine.
his stuff. What was that?
What?
That noise?
What noise?
I don't know, but she's asking you about Klaus. Klaus.
No. Lizzie Saltzman. The crazy
Guys,
witch.
this is not a podcast to talk about the originals or legacy. We're gonna keep it on the topic at hand. Dylan Lennings.
She asked a question. I answered.
Dylan Lennings is a character introduced in the Daywalker. He helped Rigo Balderas and his brother Pedro with their first lichen transformations. Dylan is listed as a middle-aged wereswine, but he's got um, sage-like wisdom. He knows how to handle the transformations better than anybody else. And a lot of people are making fun of me for making him a wereswine because they're expecting him to be fat. He's not fat. He's actually based off one of my ex coworkers that I work with, and I didn't get permission to use his whole name, so I just use his first name. Um,
He's also very wise beyond his years.
exactly, sage like wisdom. If I had to pinpoint some characters in fiction that he is wise like, I would say like Yoda and hold on.
Zordon.
Zordon's a good one too. Hold on. Sorry, there was somebody at the studio door and they bolted.
Mm.
So, I don't know. Yes, Amber, Dylan is a skinny were swine. Odd. Is his swine half pig, hog, or what? You do realize that a pig and a hog are the same thing, right? But no, he is completely 110% American swine. He's one of the few lichens in the series that do not use their form for any reason. He has it. He can use it to blend in. He can use it to fight if he has to, but he doesn't. Because Dylan doesn't prefer to fight. He prefers to talk his way out of situations. And um,
Wisdom.
due to his sage-like wisdom, he's able to do that more often than not.
My question is, how did he know how to help Caitlin?
That's a very good question. He knew how to help Caitlin because he had already um, he had experienced a vampire transformation before he became a Lycan. He originally, and the backstory will not be fully covered, so I'll cover it here. Um, hang on. So when before he became a Lycan, he was an EMT and he witnessed a vampire transform or a vampire turn, a human turn into a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his first interaction with the preternatural, and he helped her through her situation. And then um, when he became a Lycan, he used that information to help other Lycans and vampires. That's why when we first met him in the Daywalker, um, he had the medical supplies of blood on hand from the
Mm-hmm.
blood bank that he used to work for. They donated old blood that was out of date. He could use it still. They couldn't use it because it was outdated and da 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 da, but he could use it to help vampires no matter what.
Yeah.
Um, Amber says, "Good question, Kate. So, who inspired Dylan's character?
Didn't you just?
He was actually inspired by a person from a TV show that we watched. Trying to remember the character's name now, but his name comes from one of my coworkers. What was the name of that show?
What show? Was it a show I used to watch?
No, it was one me and Amber watched.
Oh.
It's not what I thought it was. But I drew inspiration for the character from a bunch of different mentors in fiction. It's just the idea of a were-swine came to me from a TV show I watched with Amber, and I can't remember what the fuck it's called now. I bet you as soon as I hit end stream, I'll remember the name of this, and I'll let you know. It was not a TV show. When I wrote the character of Dylan into the book, he was not planned to be a Lycan.
Mm-hmm.
He was just going to be a normal human that knew all this stuff. And Amber and Riley were having a conversation about the Disney movie Hercules.
Mm-hmm.
And they could not remember the name of Phil, the satyr. And so I looked up from the book and I said, "You mean Phil?" And went back to writing. And the inspiration hit me there to make him a Lycan that was like Phil. So Phil being sage-like, even though he was kind of cantankerous and angry all the time, was who inspired the character Dylan before I made him a were-swine. I didn't want to steal the satyr gimmick, so I gave him that one. He's a were-swine. Yes, he's based on Phil, but an anorexic Phil.
Are you calling him fat?
Yes. And also kind of inspiration from a character that nobody probably even remembers. I'll bring a picture up on screen, because if I say his name, probably nobody's never going to know who I'm talking about.
Why?
Because it's from an old TV show.
Oh.
One I used to watch religiously. If Scott's still watching, Scott and Miss Baloo may be the only ones that know who he is.
I was gonna say Fester.
Who?
But the minion for Rita.
Finster. No, it's not Finster.
Yeah, that. I mean, he looked like a pig. Or that pig from the Power Ranger movie. I can't remember. I don't think had a name.
Mordaunt, and no, that wasn't him either. But thanks, Caitlin. Now every time I go to write about Dylan, that's who I'm gonna see in my head. But this is the character that got some of his sage of wisdom from. Can anybody in my comment section tell me who this character is?
No, that. He looks like he's from the Jetsons.
Close, but no cigar. Caitlin, she says, "Did I hear Bluey in the background?"
Yes.
Yes, you did, Amber. He's from the Flintstones, not the Jetsons. Same company, same artist.
Again, the whole outfit reminds me of Jetson.
Well, he was an alien, so that's why that happened.
And the nose.
For the last time, Amber, pay attention. He's not from the Jetsons.
He's from the Flintstones.
From the Flintstones.
I'm gonna look this shit up.
The very first thing he says every time he appears is, "Hey, dum-dum." Don't be cheating and Googling information over there.
Who?
You.
I've never heard of it. So it don't count to me. You said from the comments.
Yeah, I'm asking you not to go Google it, though.
It's not like they can see.
He first appeared in a 1965 episode titled About Him.
Okay, I know who it is now. I got the name, at least.
Sure you did, Amber. Sure you did.
Huh?
She said that she says things before I bring it up, dear. Remember that. I commented that before you said it. No, you didn't. He has appeared in the animated Flintstones and he appeared in the live action Flintstones as well.
If they don't get it, can I say it since I already looked it up?
Yeah, we're going to give about 5 more minutes and then we'll bring it up.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions about Dylan Lennings before we move on? Because apparently they're not going to answer. Caitlin, go ahead and tell them who that was. Tell them who that was.
The Great Gazoo.
The Great Gazoo. Any more questions about Dylan Lennings before we call it a night?
Mm-mm.
All right. If there are no more questions about Dylan Lennings, I don't have anything else to add about him without giving away too much plot. But we're going to call it a night. I was going to do another live read, but I don't have but 2 viewers, and I'm not sticking around for that. I love my viewers, but it's got to be more than 5 for me to stick around for live viewers.
Well, I'll catch y'all later.
Take it easy, Kate. Thank you for dropping in and answering questions about your character. Until next time when we dive in.
Yes, sir.